Welcome back to Daily Principle. Today, you'll discover how to use the law of attraction the right way, not as wishful thinking, but as a practical mindset that helps you create the life you truly want. What if the biggest thing standing between you and your dream life isn't luck, but the way you think, feel, and act every single day? Stay with me, because these principles could completely change the way you approach success. The law of attraction is one of the most talked about ideas in personal growth, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Many people treat it like magic, believing that if they simply imagine the life they want, everything will appear on its own. That isn't how it works. The law of attraction is not about waiting for wishes to come true. It's about intentionally directing your thoughts, emotions, and actions toward the future you want to create. When you truly understand that process, it changes the way you approach every part of your life. The reality is that you're always attracting something. Whether you realize it or not, your mindset, emotions, and daily habits influence the results you experience. Some people consistently attract opportunities, while others seem trapped in endless challenges. The difference isn't luck, talent, or destiny. More often than not, it's where their attention goes. Whatever you focus on tends to grow. If your mind stays fixed on problems, you'll continue noticing more problems. When you train yourself to look for opportunities, they begin appearing where you never noticed them before. If you constantly remind yourself of your limitations, life keeps reinforcing those beliefs. But when your attention stays fixed on your goals with clarity and purpose, new possibilities begin to reveal themselves. The biggest difference between people who successfully apply the law of attraction and those who become frustrated is simple. One group waits for life to change, while the other becomes the reason life changes. One asks, "Why isn't anything happening?" The other asks, "What's my next step?" That shift changes everything. This is about much more than positive thinking, affirmations, or vision boards. It's about creating alignment between your beliefs, your emotions, and your daily actions. Real transformation happens when your inner world and your outer behavior begin moving in the same direction. Ultimately, the law of attraction isn't just about attracting success. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally creates it. Everything starts with awareness. Most people move through life without paying much attention to the thoughts they repeat, the emotions they hold on to, or the beliefs running quietly in the background. Yet those invisible patterns shape their reality every single day. Think about your own experience. Have you noticed that when you feel confident and optimistic, conversations go better, opportunities seem easier to recognize, and challenges feel more manageable? On the other hand, when you're stressed or expecting the worst, even small problems feel overwhelming. Often, the circumstances haven't changed nearly as much as your perspective has. That's why becoming aware of your thinking is the first real step. Every thought is like planting a seed in your subconscious mind. Fill your mind with doubt, fear, and frustration, and those seeds continue growing. Fill it with possibility, confidence, and determination, and your mind begins building a completely different future. Ask yourself honestly, what are you feeding your mind every day? Are your thoughts helping you move closer to your goals, or are they quietly convincing you to stay where you are? One of the most fascinating things about the subconscious mind is that it responds strongly to repeated mental experiences, whether they come from reality or vivid imagination. When you regularly picture yourself succeeding, your mind slowly begins accepting that outcome as possible. If you repeatedly imagine failure, it prepares you for disappointment instead. Your brain is constantly searching for evidence that supports your existing beliefs. Tell yourself you're unlucky, and you'll notice every setback. Convince yourself you're capable, and you'll begin recognizing opportunities that were always there. Highly successful people understand this principle. They deliberately train their minds to support their goals instead of working against them. Rather than saying, "I'm not good enough," they tell themselves, "I'm improving every day." Instead of believing opportunities never come their way, they choose to believe they can recognize and create new opportunities. This isn't blind optimism. It's about intentionally strengthening thought patterns that lead to productive action. Modern neuroscience supports this idea. The brain continually forms and strengthens neural pathways based on repeated thinking. The more often you repeat certain thoughts, the more natural they become. That's why confidence grows through repetition, just as negativity does. If you want to change your results, begin by paying close attention to your inner dialogue. Notice how you speak to yourself throughout the day. Are your thoughts encouraging growth or reinforcing limitation? Because if you don't learn to direct your thinking will eventually direct your life. Once you identify those limiting beliefs, begin replacing them with thoughts your mind can genuinely accept. Effective affirmations aren't about making unbelievable claims. They work best when they feel achievable. Instead of forcing yourself to say, "I'm wealthy," try saying, "I'm becoming better at creating financial success every day." Instead of saying, "Everything is perfect," remind yourself, "I'm making steady progress." When your mind accepts the statement, it becomes much easier to build new beliefs around it. Most importantly, stay consistent. Reprogramming your mindset works the same way as strengthening your body. One workout changes very little. Daily practice creates lasting transformation. Your thoughts shape your beliefs. Your beliefs influence your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions, and your actions ultimately determine your results. If you truly want to use the law of attraction to achieve your goals, everything begins by mastering your own mind. Once you've taken control of your thinking, the next step is understanding the power of emotion. Many people believe manifestation begins and ends with thoughts, but thoughts alone are incomplete. Thoughts create direction, while emotions provide the energy that brings those thoughts to life. Think back to a moment when you felt genuinely excited about a goal. Maybe you were preparing for an important opportunity or chasing something that inspired you. Chances are you felt motivated, focused, and ready to take action. Now compare that with a time when fear, uncertainty, or self-doubt dominated your emotions. You probably hesitated, questioned yourself, and missed opportunities you might otherwise have pursued. This is why emotional energy matters so much. You don't simply attract what you think about most, you often move toward what you consistently feel. Many people say they want success, yet spend most of their time feeling afraid of failure. They say they want financial freedom, yet constantly focus on debt, scarcity, and worry. Those emotional patterns shape the choices they make every day, often without them even realizing it. Your emotional state sends out a signal, much like a radio transmitter. If your mind stays tuned to fear, stress, or constant worry, that's the frequency you're living on, and your decisions and experiences often begin reflecting it. But when your dominant emotions become confidence, gratitude, and optimism, you naturally begin attracting situations that match that mindset. So ask yourself a simple question. What are you broadcasting every day? Are you moving through life with confidence or self-doubt? Do you feel capable or powerless? The world responds far more to the energy behind your actions than to the words you speak. The good news is that your emotions are not fixed. Most people believe emotions simply happen to them. They think they're anxious because of their circumstances or frustrated because life isn't cooperating. But your emotional state is driven largely by where your attention goes. Focus on what you're missing and you'll experience scarcity. Focus on obstacles and frustration grows stronger. Shift your attention toward opportunities, progress, and what you're grateful for, and your emotional state begins changing almost immediately. One of the most empowering realizations is that you don't have to wait for good things to happen before allowing yourself to feel good. You can create those emotions first, and that emotional shift changes the way you see and respond to the world. This is why gratitude is such a powerful practice. When you're genuinely thankful, your attention moves away from what's lacking and toward what already exists. You begin recognizing abundance instead of absence, and that perspective influences the opportunities you notice and the choices you make. Visualization is another powerful tool, but many people misunderstand it. It's not enough to simply picture your goal like watching a movie. You need to experience it emotionally. Close your eyes and step into the future you want, as though it's already your reality. If financial freedom is your goal, imagine waking up feeling completely at peace because money is no longer a source of stress. If you're working toward better health, picture yourself feeling energetic, confident, and strong every single day. The more detailed and emotionally real that experience becomes, the more your mind accepts it as possible. Research has shown that the brain responds to vivid mental rehearsal in remarkable ways. That's why elite athletes spend time visualizing successful performances before they ever step onto the field. They mentally experience victory, confidence, and focus so often that their bodies become better prepared to perform when the moment arrives. You can apply the same principle to your own life. Every morning, spend a few moments experiencing the emotions of already living your desired future. Feel successful before success arrives. Feel confident before circumstances change. Feel grateful before the results appear. Those emotions naturally influence your behavior. When you feel successful, you make better decisions. When you feel confident, you carry yourself differently. When you feel abundant, you begin noticing opportunities that once escaped your attention. However, none of this replaces action. This is where many people misunderstand the law of attraction. Positive thoughts and uplifting emotions are powerful, but they must be supported by consistent action. Your thoughts, emotions, and behavior all need to point in the same direction. If you want financial success, begin managing your money with greater wisdom today. If you want excellent health, start treating your body accordingly instead of waiting for motivation. If you want meaningful success, begin making the kinds of decisions your future self would make. Action is what transforms possibility into reality. Once your thoughts, emotions, and actions are working together, another ingredient becomes essential: faith. Faith is what carries you between where you are now and where you want to be. It's what keeps you moving when visible results haven't appeared yet. This is the stage where many people quit. They begin with excitement, stay positive for a while, take action, and then become discouraged because progress seems slower than expected. Doubt quietly replaces confidence, and they begin questioning whether anything is actually working. But real growth often happens long before you can see it. Imagine planting a seed. You water it consistently, provide sunlight, and care for it every day. For a while, nothing appears above the soil. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. Beneath the surface, roots are spreading and building the foundation for future growth. If you stop watering the seed simply because you can't see immediate results, you destroy the very process you were hoping to create. Your goals work much the same way. Progress is often invisible before it becomes visible. That's why faith matters. You must continue believing in your vision before external proof arrives. The moment you become consumed by doubt and focus only on what hasn't happened yet, you weaken your own momentum. So how do you develop that kind of confidence? The first step is making a firm decision that your goal is no longer a question of if, but simply when. When you truly accept that success is inevitable, your behavior changes. You stop hesitating. You stop constantly questioning yourself. You become more decisive because you trust that every action is moving you forward. The next step is letting go of the need to control every detail. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they must know exactly how everything will happen. They try to predict every opportunity, every connection, and every step along the way. But life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. Think about your biggest achievements. Chances are they arrived through opportunities you never expected, conversations you didn't plan, or paths you hadn't considered. Instead of becoming attached to one specific route, stay committed to the destination while remaining open to unexpected possibilities. Finally, begin acting like the person you're becoming. When you truly believe your future is already unfolding, your choices naturally change. You carry yourself differently. You make decisions with greater confidence. You stop procrastinating because you're no longer acting from fear. Instead, you move with purpose, trusting yourself and taking actions that reflect the future you're creating. That is where belief becomes reality. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions consistently match the person you want to become, your life gradually begins reflecting that change. That is the real meaning of the law of attraction. It isn't just about attracting success, It is about transforming yourself into someone who naturally creates it. Fear is often the biggest obstacle. It creates doubt, hesitation, and overthinking, making you question yourself just when you're making progress. But uncertainty is part of every worthwhile journey. You don't need to see the entire path ahead. You only need the courage to take the next step. Faith isn't having all the answers. It's continuing forward even when you can't yet see the outcome. As your faith grows, so does your alignment. Your beliefs, emotions, habits, and daily actions must all support the future you want. Many people dream of success while holding on to habits that keep them stuck. Your results will always mirror the way you see yourself. When you begin identifying as disciplined, capable, and confident, your choices naturally start reflecting that identity. Small, consistent actions reinforce who you believe you are. Your habits shape your future far more than occasional motivation ever will. If your routines don't match your goals, neither will your results. The same is true for your environment. Spend time with people who inspire growth, remove distractions, and create surroundings that help you stay focused on your vision. At the same time, let go of the need to control every outcome. Progress flows more easily when you stop forcing results and instead take calm, purposeful action. As you stay aligned, opportunities appear, the right people enter your life, and doors begin opening in ways you couldn't have predicted. Persistence is what brings everything together. Many people quit because success doesn't arrive as quickly as they expect, but lasting results belong to those who keep going. Every positive decision adds momentum, even when you can't immediately see it. Learn to enjoy the process instead of living only for the destination. Every setback is preparing you with the strength, patience, and wisdom needed for the next level. Trust that not every delay is a failure. Often, life is preparing you before delivering what you've been working toward. Keep improving your mindset, your habits, and your actions every single day. In the end, the law of attraction is not about wishing for a better life. It's about becoming the person who is ready to receive it. Choose thoughts that empower you, emotions that energize you, actions that move you forward, and faith that keeps you going. When your inner world truly aligns with your vision, your goals stop feeling impossible and begin becoming inevitable. The law of attraction rewards consistent action, unwavering belief, and a focused mind. If you found this valuable, subscribe to Daily Principle and keep investing in the habits that transform your life.